and gentlemen, welcome to Prize Fighters, Circus Freaks, and Gangsters. I'm Greta.
And I'm Jamie.
And we are here to talk about the matrimony, mayhem, murder, and mendaciousness of the 19th century.
Ooh, that was excellent alliteration. I love it.
See, I can still learn stuff. You were showing me up. I had to hold up my end.
Oh, what was the last one? I was loving that. Mendaciousness? Is that what you threw in there?
Mendaciousness.
Oh,
yes.
That's such a pretty word.
I love that word. And so I had a chance to use it. Gonna use it.
What does mendacious mean? I'm gonna just throw myself under the bus there.
Yeah, no, you're lying. Somebody who's mendacious is not telling the truth. So that was an epithet that would be thrown at like the snake oil salesman. We have to run these men out of town on a rail because they're mendaciously fooling our young women to throwing away their pocket money and their virtue, obviously.
Of course, their virtue just thrown to the winds.
But you know who is determined not to throw her virtue to the wind?
Who?
Our Lolita. She's gonna get married, god damn it.
She is a virtuous woman.
Yes.
And she'll shoot you if you have something else to say about it.
Yes, she will. She will defend her virtue, her own damn self, with her own damn gun.
Yeah, she is amazing. This show gets better and better with every episode, don't you think?
Yeah, there was that one episode where we went to 112 different locations, but I feel like they've reined it back in. We're gonna get some things solved here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oof, I really felt like I had a head injury or something like that in that episode.
But we start off this episode very sensibly. They do a spectacular job, sort of like, if you are in these different classes, these are the clothes that you wear. Like, the way these different women were dressed in the opening, you're like, yeah, you immediately know she's poor and she can't have the reserved corn. She's the shopkeeper and she's Lucia and it's her corn, even if she doesn't really need it. But, you know.
Yeah, and then we come to find out that she ordered extra for Lolita's mom and the Lolita's wedding, but she still doesn't want to sell it to the poor indigenous lady who comes in, and she has like basically her indigenous garb on rather than the Western style garb.
Yeah, she's just a campesino, a peasant, and like, nah. Like, I wouldn't take your dirty peasant money even if you could afford it. So, ugh.
You know what's fun about random indigenous cultures? The ubiquitousness of the styles, like of the clothing style, whether it's like Malaysian or Mexican, like Malaysian and Mexican, you could see, like today I saw a Malaysian tribal dance thing, and I thought I was looking at like an old Mayan ritual or something like that. And it even translates to like the Sami people in Finland. I mean, obviously they're blonde-haired and blue-eyed, but they're dressed like you. I mean, they look like you would think they were Native American.
Well, I mean, this is one of the fun things. Like, human bodies are shaped like human bodies, and until you really get into like fancy scene work, there is a very finite number of ways you can put clothing on a human body.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just like the crab evolved independently 6 times throughout the history of geology, we've just kind of evolved the same fashions over time, repeatedly around the world.
And who doesn't love a decorative sash? I mean, that is clearly just a human thing.
Yes, and beads. There's got to be beads.
Oh, God, yeah. But, speaking of beads, we get Ivanova coming in, and she and Lucia are having like a back and forth, and she says the most unbelievable thing I think Ivanova has ever said.
What, that a Russian said something was too gaudy?
Thank you. Oh, this fabric is too gaudy.
It's just never happened. Seeing a Russian say something was too gaudy, I'm glad you laughed too.
Yeah, no, I wrote down, I'm like, well, I'm calling BS on that. And so, yeah,
next to Greek, we'll say it's too gaudy as well.
So there's some like weird back and forth where they're doing veiled insults or something at each other, or something about hats.
I think she was saying that she was going to stop banging her husband so that they could just have like all right, that wasn't good for business. I admit it. I'm going to stop doing that, and we're all just going to mind our business.
Yeah, and now that,
She was kind of trying to do a truce that sounded like in veiled snake woman speak.
Right, and, because, now that I'm running the show over here, I don't have to play as many games. We can, stop with some of, the behind-the-curtain BS and just deal with each other straightforwardly. So, yeah, that was interesting. But, yeah, she wanders outside and...
Yeah, she's dispensing with intrigue and gaudiness. I mean, was she going to just renounce her Russian citizenship and move into New Spain?
I don't think she was renouncing intrigue. I think she was just renouncing it with Lucia. She's got other targets for that. But, yeah, the gaudiness, I had to take a moment there to deal with that one. But, her little comment about hats in the store, she goes outside and it's like, oh, there's another hat. It's the Russian guy's hat. What's going on? And we are, firmly in pulp novel sneakiness. Zorro just appears from nowhere.
Well, super sneaky. He's dressed as Zorro in broad daylight in the middle of the day in the smallest town in the world. The idea that this man is a secret now is absolutely absurd. But
it's Los Angeles. It's much bigger than you think. It's not very tall.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, they have this weird conversation. We all know that that it didn't happen the way we're all telling everybody it happened. So just you watch your back and be nicer to the natives. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting that that Zorro said that she had to rehire the natives. So you can see that the store's not selling corn to the natives, but Zorro's trying to back channel it well, eventually they'll have some money and they can buy this shit, so let's get it going.
Right. There's some implication that the whole otter fur trade sort of comes back up to the surface, and it was that it used to be that you would buy them from the natives and they're the only source, and then the Russians brought their own people to there's some complicated stuff going on that I was yeah, this is stuff we know nothing about in America, because it was all going on outside of America.
And really in America, the idea of a three-way trade is not something that that's too complex for America. We're really an A to B type operation.
True.
Yeah, we can't, the three-way trade is not working.
No. And so as we're sort of sitting here going, what's going on? Zorro, poof, he just disappears. Not even a puff of smoke.
No, why would he need that? He's a ninja.
There you go.
He's a Spanish ninja.
But enough of that. We are off to Mission San Juan Capistrano, which was, again, a great tribute to the original Zorro story, which was called The Legend of Capistrano. So the fact that...
Ooh, great catch.
So the fact that we're there, and, oh my God, this Samael guy is so evil. Some priest walks up to you, and, the first thing you do, it's you grab for your gun. Calm down there, dude.
Yeah. So it's Zek, Samael, and Guadalupe just roll up on this priest looking super creepy.
Yeah.
And he invites him in. I guess he pretty much knew he was dead, I think.
Well,
you're inviting these three weirdos into your place. But he knew that lady.
Yeah, he knows Guadalupe from before. We find out that, she's from that area, but it's sort of she's almost no. I would like some coffee first, and then you can kill him. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But was that Turkish coffee that they were drinking? Because that was a very small cup.
Yeah, I'm sure it was some sort of Turkish coffee, because, it's going to be made over the fire, and I'm sure soaking in the grounds and everything. And it's not really, it's less about I'm going to drink a big old cup of coffee. This is more about a hospitality thing. Let me get you a thing to drink. We'll sit here and sip on it. And it looks like they had some wine on this, it's more of a hospitality thing.
Ah, gotcha. What if I can derail the show for a moment?
Yes.
What is you are an expert on food. Can you explain what's the difference in Turkish coffee preparation? I know it's made in a samovar, right? Is that right?
Well, no, samovar is a Russian thing, and that's more typically for tea. The real big difference has to do, first of all, with the ratio of water to coffee. and then how finely ground it is. So Turkish coffee, it tends to be ground like super fine, like dusty fine, almost to the point where it...
Like instant coffee fine.
Differently, because it can't dissolve, but like if you look at the grounds in Turkish coffee, it's like mud at the bottom of the cup.
Okay.
Whereas like cowboy coffee, kind of like American coffee, they would typically grind it first in mortar and pestle, and then they came up with these like single purpose mills that they would grind it. And so it was, the grounds were much more similar to like what you put in filter coffee.
Okay.
And so it's like big sand.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then in Turkish coffee, you would like brew it over like a low fire for longer, and sugar would very typically be added to it. Like the sugar and the coffee were kind of together, and then like different areas would actually put spices in it. Like even today, Saudi Arabia is one of the largest cardamom consumers because they put a bunch of cardamom in their coffee when brewing it that way. Whereas Americans always had like this much weaker coffee, and they would boil it.
Okay.
So like it'd be this rapid boil and these large grains of coffee, and would use far, far less coffee per cup of water kind of thing.
Gotcha. So do you prefer Turkish coffee to American coffee? Do you have a preference?
Really weak coffee I don't like, just because it tends to be really bitter, because you're extracting more of the chemicals out of the coffee, and some of those need to stay in the beans. Thank you. For me,
AA coffee is not the tastiest coffee on planet Earth, but it's just there for caffeine.
No, and for me, like a lot of coffee tastes good. It's it's sort of like, is it fairly freshly roasted and ground, or is it like preserved really well? But yeah, the longer your beans are ground before you use them, the more all of the tasty chemicals disappear into the air.
Oh, I did not know that. And one last question. Is the mouthfeel different then for Turkish coffee, since it's more like dense and maybe it's silky?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And because the coffee is ground so fine, you'll kind of feel the wet coffee dust in your mouth. So it is a very thick feeling.
Okay.
Whereas, yeah, you can't drink Turkish coffee to cure your thirst. Whereas, like, if you're thirsty and drink American coffee, like, it'll make you feel less thirsty.
Yeah, well, drinking a thimbleful of coffee is probably, or the thimbleful of anything is really not going to quench anybody's thirst. So.
Yeah, no, and it does have a thickness to it that. Yeah,
well, at least he got a tasty drink on the way out. And he had a painless death. That priest. Yes,
and once again, bad guys dressed so fine. Oh my God, cut it out. I wanted that coat that Lupe had. That was a hell of a jacket she was wearing.
That's like the close-ups now on Zorro. I'm starting to see all the like corduroy he's wearing and all this like black shit you couldn't really see detail on. It like now it's catching light, and it's like, oh my God, how sumptuous is his outfit.
But, it's also basically, if you ever meet anybody with big puffy sleeves like that made out of leather, don't trust them. They're probably evil, because good people can't walk around in white leather giant puffy sleeves. But, I mean, we're off to a hell of a start here. Shoot the priest. Well, to make it look good, we also need to go sack the church. Jesus.
Yeah, it's got to look like a robbery.
Like, what did this poor guy do? He was just like a little, like, he didn't, I don't know.
And did they really need to kill the priest? They could have just had him take a walk while they were forging Samael into the birth record. I mean, it really wasn't necessary. But then they didn't have to kill the 3 women who showed up after that either.
No!
They're just laying waste to a whole town, just depopulating it.
Right! Like, you'd think somebody would start to get worried. Like, no wonder people would think, like, somebody would be a demon. They show up and just people are dying left and right. Like, yeah.
And the Old West was really rife with serial killers. So, there was no shortage of serial killers, and they were operating all over the place. So, I guess this guy kind of is period accurate. I don't know that any of those... the serial killers would have even been clean cut, because H.H. Holmes at the end of the century was quite clean cut.
Yeah, and besides, it's much easier to wash all that blood out of your hair if you keep it short.
Oh, that's true. And you got to keep the pomade in, so it just glides right off.
It's, it's not just guns in churches. It's also guns as wedding presents. I mean, that's the most American thing they've done. Congratulations, you're getting married.
Yeah, Diego gives his dad's old rifle to Lolita as a wedding gift. But I think that was to rattle the dad, don't you think?
Yeah, that was possibly, because he's definitely figured out that Tadeo is part of the clan of the bear and everything. Yeah, that was to rattle the dad, but you're like, yep, that gun is going to be shot before the end of this episode.
Yeah. And when the dad's like, yes, it's the favorite gun of my very best friend in the world. I'm going to put it right here on the wall. And Diego just looks at him like, you fucking dickhead.
Fuck this other gun. Who needs this stupid, useless, ugly gun? Let's put this one here. I'm like, that gun is going to get shot before the end of the episode. No.
But it's also, it's a breech loading rifle.
Yes.
Yes, and that's really the height of technology there. So where everybody else is stopping to having to load their muzzle loader, Lolita is able to get off plenty of shots, just loading one shot after the other.
That's actually the interesting question. Did he also bring her ammunition for that thing?
Well, he must have, because she used it later.
Yeah, she did. But I was just like, so he's not just bringing her a weapon for a wedding present. Here's some ammo, too.
I wonder if that was because he was... Oh, well, I got to protect her from all the enemies of Zorro. And then, so that's where the gun comes in. It is a very American gift.
Yeah,
though.
So as soon as the gun's there, Na-Lin is like, evil Zorro shows up. And, okay, as somebody who's like supposed to be the hero of the people, she is taking out the servants at an alarming rate.
I said the exact... so I have a note here. Where is it? Kills the help like a fucking fascist, is what I said. Because it's like she's targeting the help. These people are indigenous people, and she's hacking them to bits. They're like the only people around who have managed to feed themselves. They're not doing anything untoward to anybody. Oh, my God.
Like, all she had to do is yell, like, run away, and if one of them stays there like, no, I will defend my master, like, yeah, then go after him. But these people are just, like, doing chores in the yard.
Yeah, and they just sneak up on him and hack him to pieces. Like, there is nothing noble about it at all.
I don't know. But Monasterio's like, okay, all right, I'm governor now, so enough of this disruptive native shit. But I don't want to be a total bastard, so I'm going to leave some soldiers here in the village to protect you from Zorro. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
That was actually a clever idea.
Yeah.
He really is trying to peacefully navigate this situation as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, because, I mean, he was mad at the old governor. It's like, you're making my life harder. And so he's really trying to do, like, okay, if I were in charge, this is what I would do. And he's actually kind of doing it. So, not mad.
Yeah. I'm quite happy with Captain Monasterio.
I mean, poor dude. Like, talk about being in an impossible situation. Like, he's totally Boy Scouting it up. He's not interested or willing to look any deeper into all of these things going wrong. But you know what? We need a pure, innocent soul here to kind of try to see the best in everyone. I understand that.
And there was actually at least one military governor like this in the history of Los Angeles. Remember, I was talking about how they had so many governors, and so there were a couple of who were kind of, well, I got to step into the breach here because everybody's dead, and they did a pretty good job. And then some dickhead aristocrat would show up and fuck everything up.
They're like, yeah, but I could be making money by destroying everything, so yeah, I'm gonna do that. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right. And so since Na-Lin can't, mess up the native village, she's like, you know what? I am going to go mess with May. You wouldn't let me mess with Lolita, so yeah, I'm going to find some other person who's not particularly doing anything wrong and mess them up. How about May?
Yeah.
She's just standing there.
Yeah, Notlin's totally gone like Nightwing and Batman. Nightwing was the original Robin who turns all evil, and he's like the Punisher Batman. Yeah, that's totally Notlin in this.
Yeah, and she's like, so yeah, you're just gonna let Lolita marry some other guy? Well, you deserve to have me go attack. What?
Yeah, it was almost like she wants Diego and she's mad she can't. Like Lynn wants Diego, she can't have Diego, and she knows Diego wants Lolita, so now she's gonna go kill Lolita, and like who knows? I feel like that's going to happen. Like she's gonna come out as like I was just in love with him all along. I didn't know how to express my emotions because I was raised in a bad environment. I don't know, whatever.
I don't know, but Diego's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Everybody's messing with everybody I like. I need to go do some training about it. So let's go do a training montage. Bernardo, be my training partner.
Bernardo, fence me. I am the greatest fencer in all of Spain and Mexico. Fence me.
I'm like, see, what can't Bernardo do? He's also the training partner. He's setting up training sessions with like falling sandbags. The guy does everything. And
yeah, he's getting his ass kicked at fencing by Zorro, but he's fencing against Zorro, so all of us would get torn up by Zorro. He did just fine, I think.
This is one of the moments where I was like, come on, Diego, where he cuts the Z into Bernardo's shirt. I'm like, Bernardo has to fix that. On top of everything else this man's doing for you, now he's got to fix his shirt. Yeah. Yeah, he's got to mend his own shirt. He's not going to send that out. Or no, May is going to do it. Right. May? May. I keep thinking lie. Yep. She totally reminds me of Lie. I don't know. Like, can she sew? We don't know. I don't know. And we know Bernardo can sew. I have a feeling she's going to bust out some butterfly swords and tear it up at some point. We know that Bernardo can sew because he, like, made the substitute Zorro outfit. There was, like, that whole scene of him tailoring. So, there you go. The man can do anything. If he could forge Excalibur if he had to. So... You know, we flip back to the mission for a second because Samael like becomes this other kid and they forge the whole thing. They shoot the women, they shoot the priest, but we definitely have to fake baptize this guy to make it official. I was like, what? Yeah. Also, now we have, this is the creepiest on-screen mother-daughter situation since that Stephen King movie Sleepwalkers back in the day with the cat people and the mom and the son, and they were just way too close to each other all the time. Yeah, so we got that situation going on. At least these two are not related in real life, but they're pretending that they are. Yeah, but... And again, it goes back to the creepy. Even if you're pretending it's creepy as hell. It's just creepy. Yeah, like the... They got the creep factor just off the charts. Off the charts. It's amazing. Yeah, he is doing a great job with the creepy. So is she. Guadalupe is like... She was sitting stock still at the table with her hands on the table, like evenly placed next to the plate. And it's like, oh, she's going to kill everybody. Oh, she's just thinking about killing. That's how a person sits when they're thinking about killing a bunch of people. She strikes me as somebody who is not well balanced. That's for sure. And we're going to find out why, but not yet because we have a wedding. Yes, we have a wedding. The wedding. And so this looked really small, and my knowledge of like aristocratic weddings really kind of ended at 1800s. So I was under the impression that aristocratic weddings would be huge affairs where they would invite all of the populace and every poor person, so everybody gets fed, like the Russians were still doing up until like 1904 or whatever. But or until all those people got trampled to death in the one coronation. Well, I think because like it's the church part is separate from the party, and so maybe like that. Oh, okay. Because I mean that mission church isn't that big, so you can only invite so many people to go inside the church, and then you can have a big party later. Gotcha. Well, yeah, and so these weddings were really small affairs, as I came to find out, and even looked up a painting that looks exactly like the wedding as it was as it transpires later in the episode. But here we're just seeing them at like. Just kind of milling about, the aristocrats. Yeah, and it was interesting that, you don't have everybody go in the church and wait. They actually wait in front of the church, and then they, like, all go into the church together, which, you sort of think about it. Like, those churches are, like, small and stuffy, And to light them, you have to light the candles, and that makes it stuffy in there. And so, yeah, everybody's going to want to stand outside. But, whew, that is rough for the groom. He's just standing out there on the steps like, okay, it's not just the wedding guests who are going to see this go wrong. The whole town is just seeing me standing here going, I'm sure she's going to be here soon.
And with all this dust, these whites are not going to stay white all that long. So can we move this along? Because he was in the whitest outfit anybody has ever... I mean, it was just gleaming. It was glorious. It was beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, and we've got Lolita being helped into the carriage by her maid. I mean, the fact that this show actually sort of like there's an acknowledgement of the hot and cold wedding servants that were required, I really appreciate that.
What are you referring to in particular? Just like all the servants who were getting killed in this, or what?
Yeah, is that no. But when like she's getting into the carriage to go to the church, there's her maid like helping her into the carriage.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like clearly like sure she may put on her like tiny little outfit of just a vest and pants by herself, but she didn't get into that fancy dress by herself. That required some help.
And with my modern eye, I mean, I'm just like I have such an antipathy to like servants, and so even when I'll see like you see some celebrity on TV and they've got an assistant scurrying after them, and you're like, are you really that fucking busy? You got to have this person scurry after you like a weird little squirrel everywhere. It's just bizarre. But that's just how people have lived their lives since forever, I guess. Right.
Again, we talked about on and off how like we have all of these electronic things that make our lives easier, so we don't need a person to do that.
And yet some people do.
Oh, yeah, because hey.
Yeah. I mean, what's the point of being rich if you can't make a person scurry?
Yes. Well, we were talking about in previous episodes that there were a zillion different scene changes. This is the episode where Diego is changing outfits 112 times.
Holy shit, this man's wardrobe changes. I mean, it was like a Lady Gaga concert. He changed clothes a lot in one day.
Yes, yeah, because...
And that meant Bernardo was busting his ass getting this man ready, because, I mean, that's what Bernardo did, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's basically a footman. Like, he puts on the shoes and shit.
Yeah, and so, like, he was Zorro, and then he is just Diego working out, and then he's Zorro again, and... he was Diego at the ranch with the present, and then not, and... Then we've got to do like the fake Zorro kidnapping, which was complicated and I didn't entirely understand. But oh my God, if something had gone wrong, Bernardo would have gotten hung and that would have been awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the family pulls up on Bernardo and he's like, got a noose tied around his neck and he's on a horse with his hands tied behind his back. And like, Diego got a little over enthusiastic and like really put the noose tight around his neck and shit because he said he was trying to make it look realistic, and Bernardo's really pissed about it afterwards, which I thought was fun.
He was correct.
Yes.
Yeah. He was correct. He's like, you have gone too far.
Yeah. All right, Nalin, pump your brakes. Didn't need to be a Nalin noose. We're not trying to win an Oscar today.
Yeah.
Especially since he fucked up with his alibi right after anyway, because by the end of the episode, Lolita knows that he is Zorro.
Okay, so the glasses thing, not working, but you can only hold that girl up close to your body so many times before she's going to figure this shit out.
Yeah. And also, so it's a beautiful man with an incredible jawline, all of his teeth, and he has the same swarthy, tubby little manservant who doesn't speak. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure that one out.
Okay, no, but I'm going to cover my mouth now with a handkerchief, and that
is true.
But I'm like, she was picked up by him. Like, she's going to know next time you pick her up. She's just like, look, we're not going to
She's going to smell you. She's going to smell you. And that's the second that he, like, was holding her or like got real close to her, I was like, it's over. She can smell you. It's over. Like there isn't a girl that has ever lived that had a nose that didn't know the guy she was into by his smell. I don't think. Am I wrong?
Right. No, you are 100% correct. Yeah. And especially with, you're only bathing once a week. Definitely. Like,
yeah.
The fact that like she's being held against him in his Diego outfit and being held against him in his Zorro outfit, they never say it. Their eyes say it. She's like, oh, I know it's you. because we've been real close. We've been like, we should be getting married close, but we're not getting married.
Yeah, you are breathing into my mouth. I'm sure I know who you are. I'm sure of it.
You're breathing into my mouth. Perfect. There we go.
Yeah, but when he leaned into her, that little alarm that went off every time that I've had one of my thousands of sweatshirts stolen went off in the back of my head, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, that's over. It's over. Like, there's no way the 1,000 sweatshirts I've purchased and lost in my lifetime, and they weren't lost, they were stolen, that there's no way that they are wrong, that 1,000 sweatshirts is incorrect.
But yeah, after we kidnap Lolita, oh my God, girls are so loud, you just have to... He has to like change clothes again and go into town and say, okay, don't worry, Eugenia. Don't worry about
See, I'm here. I'm not Zorro. All right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go see Bernardo or something. And later.
And Monasterio, don't worry, no. She didn't leave you at the altar. She was kidnapped. I know somehow. And don't ask. Anyway, I gotta go.
But I'm sure she's gonna return safely by the end of the day. I'm pretty sure
it'll be
that.
fine. Yeah. Nope.
Like 5:15ish, I'd say. You know, check back at 5:15. We'll see what we can do.
And today I was like, kill everyone. Monasterio's like, would you shut up? That is not going to help.
Yeah.
There's one thing I've learned. Going out and massacring the natives does not fix anything. It makes my life worse. We've been over this.
How was that the American go-to for hundreds of years, where it was like, you know what? The roof's got a leak. Let's go kill the natives. Like literally every problem, the first solution was kill the natives. The second solution was kill anybody with a tan or worse. Like, and it's just crazy. Well, he dressed funny. He called Jesus a different name. Like, it's just wild.
Another one of the parts of this show that cracked me up.
No.
Okay, first of all, you have a Russian saying that something's too gaudy, and now that this wedding is interrupted and we don't know when it's going to start, everybody's like, all right, all you people who are going to be guests at this wedding, get into the church. Is there going to be a wedding? I don't know. And there is that one couple who sort of looks at each other and like, we're not going in there. Yeah, let's get in here.
Yeah, we're going to go get a beer. You let us know.
Yeah.
I mean, they might be cooler because it's so dark inside there, but because I've been in the missions I was in Tucson, the really old ones were really cool. Like, cool.
Oh yeah, those super big thick adobe walls. Oh yeah, definitely be cool in there.
But like you said, it's hard as hell to breathe in there because all the candles.
Yeah,
and it's creepy as shit. It's scary.
And they're like, okay, so you don't know where the bride is, but you want us to just go hang in the church? No.
Yeah, no.
But yeah.
And that's how the mall got invented.
What?
They were like, well, we need somewhere to go.
Oh.
Well, let's go to the mall instead. Fuck that church.
But yeah, so it's like everybody into the church. And Nolan's like, you know what? I haven't done enough yet. I have not killed enough servants. So let's go back to the ranch and kill some more.
Unfinished business, she says. And I guess the unfinished business was literally just, there are still living servants.
Yeah. Though, how did Lolita get away? Hair accessories, once again.
Oh, yeah. Her hair pin or something fell out of her hair, and then she was able to saw through this
shook it out of her head.
Inch-thick rope with it. So that must have been one very sturdy, very sharp hair implement.
Hey, maybe there were diamonds on it, very sharp. I don't know. Anyway, she escapes. She goes back. She tears off her skirt so we can see that little mini bustle thingy that she's got under there. Which is right. She was missing about 4 petticoats. But the fact that they had that boning petticoat bustle shaper under there, I was like, yes, that's what it would have been. That's fair.
Well, plus this is a trope that you need in every like female action scene. It's just like when the guy suits up. the woman rips the sleeves off of her dress and then tears off the skirts. So she's in and then she's
giant encumbering
and then
skirt,
she's got combat boots on and she's ready to fuck shit up because she's wearing combat boots and a short skirt. Or a short dress. She's punk rock, she's Lori Petty, she's ready to rumble. Let's do it.
Yep, the gun comes out and it's time to just, start the gun battle.
Yeah, and so Lolita's trying to protect her help, and she's like, get in the house, don't do the fighting, I'll do the killing, these people are trash, go save yourselves. And they're trying to fight for her.
I've got the baddest ass's gun.
She is just the biggest badass, and she has the best gun. So, I mean, this is basically the 19th century version of the AR-15, because it fires faster than anything else, it fires further, it's more powerful, she's got the thing.
Yeah, and the fact they even do show the thing where you'll have the person shoot the gun, and then the person with the tomahawk or the knife or the hatchet or whatever, they're like, okay, now I know I've got 90 seconds where you're going to be fumbling around with the powder horn, and it's that's when I'm going to climb the side of the house and jump you.
Yep, and hack you to death with this hatchet. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was the black powder fight scenes are so cool because there aren't a lot of movies where you get to see these intersecting technologies.
Right.
So, the bow and arrow and the black powder and the rifling of the breech loading rifle. And it's just so cool to see how these three things are interacting with each other and these different technologies in play.
Yeah, very cool that they're really acknowledging guns are not the superior technology at this point for the most part.
Yeah. For me, I kind of felt like it was somebody with a cassette Walkman, somebody with one of the first gen MP3 players, somebody with a CD player. Everybody's got their opinion about which one works best. They all had their limitations. They all had their benefits.
Right. And we did get the one stunt guy rolling off the roof, which I super appreciated. Because if you're going to have this, kind of Old West fight scene, you got to have one of those guys.
But nobody went through a window, which was tragic. Because that is the other thing. They have to catch an uppercut and go through the window onto the front walkway.
Okay, but I guess that what makes this clearly not an American production. I mean, there are lots of things, but the fact that you don't have the big windows. In these sort of Spanish houses, you're going to have little windows, and quite often they're not going to have glass in them. They're either going to be open or closed with shutters.
Okay.
Glass is not a big technology in this part of Alta California.
Plus, it seems to me that with the bug situation being as dramatically different back then than it is now, if you had a lot of glass windows, you would just be trapping bugs inside your house rather than letting them fly out freely.
Well, yeah, but you also think about as really dry as it is. We don't think of Los Angeles as being dry, but before all the irrigation came in, it was very dry, and so you actually didn't have that many bugs. You wouldn't have mosquitoes there.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be damned.
Yeah.
Imagine LA without bugs. That's wild.
Right? I mean, they would be around the cows and the horses and everything, but there's nice moist cow poop for them to breed in. So, but a nice hacienda like that, you actually wouldn't have too much in the way of bugs because there wouldn't be pools of water for anything to breed in.
Oh, that makes sense. And you got lots of snakes to eat the bugs that do exist.
Yes, but I did definitely appreciate Lolita. Okay, will Zorro stay shot this time? If I shoot Zorro, how many times do I have to shoot Zorro for it to take? Yeah,
so she shoots Nalin and then does the whole slow walk down to go, finish off her opponent. And that was a whole badass walk too. With the torn wedding dress and she's walking up with. Was she still holding two rifles at that time? So she tore her skirts off and then she just hoists up a rifle on each hip. It was so badass. She looked like Rambo.
No, because she threw the rifle to somebody else because she had to she just had the good one. She just had Alejandro's good one up there on the corner of the roof. And so she goes in there and then once again, Diego is holding her close and she's yeah. I don't know who you are at this point, bub.
Yeah, that was it. That was fun.
But trying to be all confusing, the other thing that is so crazy at this point, it's okay, so how many times has Nalin been shot? Where has she been shot? We don't know, but somehow she's able to clear out of there once again. Just, I don't get it.
Well, she is just the speediest of ninjas. But both the Zorros, I mean, they are Mexican ninjas, so.
It's true, yeah. Yeah. Just, I mean, Diego is just rubbing some salt in the wounds, you know. Zorro doesn't belong to me. He belongs to the people. However, he definitely doesn't belong to you. He's mine now. So he might belong to the people, but I'm him. So to tempt it.
Yep. And then, so he's, she's getting called before the council because she's in trouble.
Yes.
She's in big trouble.
Yeah, I was a little confused as to what was going on, but it sort of seems like there's like a secret tunnel out of the village so they can avoid the soldiers and go have their secret council or something.
Yeah, they had like a Viet Cong type tunnel situation going on, but I guess that smuggling tunnels are fairly common to any oppressed group of people.
Yeah, but I was just like, I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, are we going to have a fight? We're going to have a fight.
Yes, and so here we have... I have mentioned this, I think, to you in passing outside of this, because there is a movie about the type of duel that Na Lin and Zorro have, because they have their wrists tied together, and then they have a fight with a hatchet and I don't remember what Zorro's weapon was.
He had a knife, so she had a hatchet and he had
This is something called a Helena duel.
Okay.
And it's the way the duels were handled in this one small town called Helena, Texas. I think it was a mining town or something. It was all men, and they were fucking drunken idiots. So they would tie their right wrists together, I believe, or their left wrists together, but really, really close. So they would just be like clasping hands, and then they would each have a knife that was short. It was like 3 to 6 inches. And then they would just keep stabbing each other until somebody died.
And I've seen actually like the hands tied together for like slap fights, but I mean the whole thing, it's like whoever cuts this rope declares the problem solved. Okay, you know, there's a clear way to finish this stupid thing. And so we have Luche dos por la máscara. And and so they go at it. And
well, this really was a lucha fight because they were both masked. So that's amazing. That's amazing.
And they both lose their weapons pretty quickly, so it becomes hand to hand. And I will say it was really fun how they had Na Lin really I'm not going to overpower this dude as she's 100 pounds soaking wet or whatever. So she's going to have to figure out other ways to do force multipliers on him and some really imaginative stuff.
Yeah, they had some really cool fighting techniques. I know the Comanche did, and they still they're a Comanche that teach the U.S. military knife fighting techniques and indigenous fighting styles. So they did have their own grappling style and knife fighting style and things like that. So I don't think that this really was like a wushu fight with two people with their wrists tied together, but it was really fun to watch. I love all that high flying grappling shit.
And the fact that it was very short on just doing shit for the purpose of making it look cool. Most every move that was made had a purpose. This one caused her to roll up on him and she ended up on his shoulders. And that wasn't just to do that. She starts to try to strangle him with the rope. You look at a lot of really showy TV fighting and they just do shit for no reason because it looks cool. But I sort of feel like most of the moves that she made, there was a purpose. She was either getting away or getting in position or tripping him or something. Yeah,
and it gave a reason to do the high flying grappling moves that they always have Scarlett Johansson and people do in movies. I always called it the flying vagina attack because I'm who the fuck just jumps up and puts their crotch in somebody's face, and that's a weirdest attack that I've ever seen in my life. Understand. That nobody would ever do that. That only a man would come up with that dumb shit. It's just so dumb, but at least here there was a reason for for her to use some of that stuff.
Yeah, so I just there wasn't. I mean, granted, their hands are tied together, so you can't do the flying double spin kick for no reason just because it looks cool. This was different than a lot of, I feel that televised fights are getting into. It's just a bunch of useless moves, and I sort of felt most of what was done in this one, there was a purpose to it, and it didn't go on forever either.
Yeah, it was kind of like if you took the greatest capoeirista ever, or like the person who was just the best capoeira person who's ever fought, and threw him into this fight. That's how they would have fought. So it looked like, yeah, all right, it's plausible if it's the greatest capoeira person you've ever seen. So yeah, what the hell? She's not Lynn.
Yeah, and she does have that moment where she's just about to take him out, and then she sees the reflection of the fox in his eyes, and that like weird little ghost animal thing it's a fox. Zorro means fox. I finally looked that one up.
We knew that from episode 1.
Did we?
We did. I have it in my notes.
Oh my God. Well, I had clearly forgotten, and I was reminded of it. So yeah.
Well, that's all right. I think we started this like 2 months ago or something like that. So.
Yeah, we've been taking our time getting through this. We've been busy.
We have.
Once the ghost fox sort of like stares her down, she's like, "All right, I'll follow the rules of the tribe. Okay, fine." Yeah, I love how Nalin just basically puts herself in timeout. She's like, all right.
Yeah, into the pit with you. It was like, it was the second Army of Darkness or the third Army of Darkness callback, I think, in this whole thing. But yeah, she has to go into the pit. So, but she throws herself in. She's like, I quit. You win. You get to be Zorro, and hops in the pit. And he's like, are you kidding me? And she's like, nope, you win. Be a good Zorro.
I'm done. Yep. The fox told me so. So yeah. But yeah, so we get to go to, at La Perla La Ranch, they fixed all of this food for the wedding party. You can't have it go to waste. You can't throw it in the fridge. There's no fridge to throw it into. So everybody show up. You've got all these poor servants who've been shot and stabbed and whatever. And let's feed everyone anyway.
Oh, is that what was happening?
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, fuck it. We're doing this. We might as well have a wedding.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so, the two of them are standing there with the priest. And if you had said, okay, one of them is going to say, hey, let's get married anyway, I never would have said it would be Lolita. I thought it would have totally been Monasterio. But no, it's Lolita. And then I was waiting for no, we can't do it. It's this inauspicious day. But she's like, nope. I woke up this morning planning to get married. I'm going to get married. Damn it.
And you see her dad, like if the camera pans over to her dad, and I did not expect his reaction, which was, this fucking bitch. Like, he was so mad. Like, I should have had a fucking son. Like, he was just mad as hell. And I did not expect his reaction. He was like muttering under his breath, man.
Yes. And then, they're like, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and get married. And then they pull away, and it's like Diego riding through the rain, and he's all sad. And I'm like, okay, so this is where the episode's going to end. We're not going to know if they actually get married. No.
He's going to pop in and object.
Yes, that also. And
I object.
And then he, wanders in there, all rained upon, and he sees them, getting ready to get married. And Lolita's, looking at him like, you going to say anything? Huh? And he just stands there all mopey. Yeah.
He gives her a little nod, go ahead and get married. Gives her a little wink.
Yeah.
And then he walks out all mopey.
Yeah.
I did the right thing. I gave up everything to be Batman. And now I'm going to go stare at my mask.
Wait, I have the regret / Batman scene.
And then he becomes Weepy Batman.
Yep. Okay, however, you know what this means in soap opera rules for poor Monasterio.
He's getting cheated on, or he's going to die.
I figure he's dead pretty soon.
Oh!
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If
poisoned by the Russian lady.
I don't know. See, my prediction is that Monasterio is going to end up dead, and they're going to make it look like Zorro did it. Even though Zorro didn't.
Well, obviously. They pin every death in this place on Zorro. An old person dies, it's Zorro's fault. Baby dies, Zorro's fault. Nat is dead, it's Zorro's fault. They don't care. It's all on Zorro.
Especially if they're rich. A poor person dies, they're like, even if Zorro did kill them, they're like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
They were just a peasant. Who knows? Who cares? So that is the question. Is it the Russians going to kill him? Is Samuel going to kill him? Is Lucia going to kill Zorro? Or Monasterio? And blame it on Zorro, because...
Or is the clan of the Cave Bear going to kill Monasterio because Tadeo's mad that she didn't marry the right guy?
Right, yeah. So, anyway.
And he's not towing the line with the clan of the Cave Bear.
No.
He's not part of the
like,
club.
you were supposed to go kill the rest of the Indians. And you're saying not... I can't stand for this. No son-in-law of mine will keep the Indians alive. No, so my bold prediction is poor Monasterio doesn't make it out of this season alive.
Well, dun dun dun. I have no prediction. I don't know
Right?
where the fuck this is going. I couldn't predict it if my life depended on it. I am out of my depth.
But then again, I got the fact that they actually ended up getting married wrong, so I could be wrong there. So yeah, there's that. Well, so that was, the wedding episode, and next episode, we're going to have to start tying together some of these threads, because Samael is here. We've got Guadalupe Montero sort of showing up, and I figure when they made him Guadalupe's son that, like, he's going to be mysteriously Alejandro's, like, lost secret baby.
Yeah. He's going to be related to the, yeah.
So we do get a secret baby.
You're checking all of your bingo cards. The whole thing is bingo.
Except secret baby with a 6-shooter.
Yeah, secret murder baby.
Didn't see that one coming.
Along with his sexy murder mommy. It's a whole creepy thing going on. But
yeah. All right. Well, we will have to come back next week to figure out who dies and who doesn't, or how many people Samael kills, or does Zorro get blamed? I don't know. It looks like there's going to be a lot of dead people in the next couple episodes. That's all I have to say.
I see dead people.
All right. Well, before we get to next week, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you on the internet?
I am at Plague of Strength on Instagram, where I post daily about all things muscular, glorious, and historical. How about yourself?
You can find me on my other podcast, The History of American Food, where I am about to start writing about the wacky diets that Americans get up to, and I'm starting with the vegetable diet.
Ooh, so we're into diet, clinical diets?
Yeah, like doctors saying, whatever's wrong with you, I have this diet where you eat in a really strange way, and that will make everything better. You won't be hot when it's hot, you won't need a jacket when it's cold, and if it doesn't work for you, it's because you're doing it wrong.
Yay! You're going to be talking Salisbury steak soon.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be fun.
Yes! You're in my wheelhouse now. I love that stuff. Cool.
All right. Well, we will be back next week to see who gets married, who stays married, who dies, and just how secret the secret baby is.
Yes. and more of that relationship that grows weirder with every passing moment.
There you go. All right. See you next week.
See ya.
You can always reach out to us by email at pcgpodcasters@gmail.com. And you can find more dope beats like this one from royalraven.com.